What is up, my friends? It is Thursday night and you are very, very welcome along. I hope you're all having a great day. We have plenty to talk about. We are, of course, going to discuss the very latest twists and turns in Liverpool's pursuit of Alexander ISAK. We're going to talk about Darwin Nunez as he approaches the Liverpool exit. We'll have a little bit around the centre-back search as well. Nicholas Jackson could very well be on his way to Newcastle, so we'll discuss that this evening as well. And Florian Plettenberg seems to be getting a little bit of stick on socials. We'll have a little talk about that and lots more over the next 90 minutes or so. Really do appreciate you guys being in with us tonight. I'm in great form, I have to say. This could be a top show because I'm in really, really good form today, and I don't know why. I'm not even on a promise, so, don't know why, but a really good form. So let's get stuck into it. We will, of course, be discussing, well, the options for Liverpool because ISAK is still there, and for what it's worth, before anybody asks, I'm 99.99% now that we're going to sign him. But we have to talk about, well, the potential of more arrivals. We will, of course, give you a little look at the current net spendometer, which isn't a scientific thing, by the way. We do have a bit of poetic license, or a bit of artistic license. That's the one I'm looking for. So we'll go through that, and of course, whatever else you guys would like to discuss, you know the drill. Lash in your comments and we'll get stuck into them. Right, so unleash Ekatisak. I love it, Dave. I love it. We're starting off as we mean to go on tonight. Yes, unleash him. I love it, mate. Look, for what it's worth, the situation is becoming more and more clear now that Newcastle are going to sell. They're not going to include Alexander ISAK in their couple of pre-season friendlies that they have coming up this weekend. They might have some joy in their pursuit of Yohan Wissa as well, as that looks to be gathering a bit of momentum. There was a scare earlier on today as, well, Newcastle and Liverpool fans thought that perhaps Bayern Munich were going to make a play for Nicholas Jackson, but Plettenberg has looked to, well, dull that down a little bit, so I'll take you through what he said. And yeah, if there's anything you want to talk about, I'm here for it. Right, let's get cracking. How are we? Why can't the away shirt have the red bird? I don't know. Do you know what? I haven't even paid much attention to the away shirt. Yeah, I don't know. Nobody in my house has bought the away shirt, so I haven't had a chance to have a proper look at it yet. Myself and my son have the home shirt. Connor also got the home shirt. Neo and Dobby, they love you, bro. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you so much. And while we're saying thank you to people, I want to just say a little thank you to Robert Birrell as well, who I believe plays five-a-side with Connor every week and watches the channel. So Robert, massive thank you, bro, for your support. Hope you're not making too much of a show of Connor out there on the five-a-side pitch. Don't go playing foot golf with him, Robert. He's a hustler. But we'll talk about that later. And Robert, again, my man, thank you. Right, let's get going. Looking good in the hood. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate you. It's not often I wear cream or white because, like I say, I'm a chunk bot and normally cream or white doesn't go, but this one gives a bit of the collar, the zip gives it a bit of movement, so I can maybe hide the moves a little bit better. Breaking news, Andy Carroll rejects Newcastle. He's actually at Dagenham and Redbridge or somewhere, if my memory's not mistaken, Manny. I'm sure he went there, and I think he's got an ownership stake or something in it as well. Maybe somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but to the best of my recollection, sir, I think he's genuinely playing for Dagenham and Redbridge. What do you guys think of Nathan Collins as a centre-back along with Mark A? Said Marcus Copley. So, mate, I love it. But I really, really don't think that Brentford will sell Nathan Collins. We've been linked with him quite a bit in this window. And it really feels like one centre-back based off the reporting that we're seeing. So we will talk about that tonight because, well, I don't want to say we've had a boost too much in our pursuit of Mark A, but, well, let's just say the obstacles standing in our way of moving from Mark A are starting to disappear. So we'll go through that as well. Leone, we'll talk about that one as well. Of course we will. There's been some reporting on him today, so seeing as you've brought his name up, let's get stuck into that. So Giovanni Leone, where are we? Well, actually, do you know what? Let's start with the net spendometer, if I can. So this is the current net spendometer that we promised we'd be bringing you all summer. So we've taken into account the money Liverpool will receive for Darwin Nunez sale to Al Hilal. And as you can see, 190.5 million roughly now in incomings. Or in outgoings, 294.5 million in incomings. Now, of course, Will Wright and a couple of other smaller players aren't on that list, but currently 104 million net. Now, of course, if we sell Harvey Elliott, that will bring back in another 40 or 50 million, and we'll talk about Spurs tonight who have interest in him. So Yeah, it's looking like the net spendometer by the end of the window could be, I'm doing some quick maths here, 250, somewhere around that. I want to know, do you believe some of these stories as well about Liverpool looking for extra forwards? So not just ISAK, but there's been lots of talk of us wanting to bring in a wide player. And I'll draw your attention to some of the wording from the likes of Paul Joyce on this. Right, so let's get cracking. I promised you a little story on that young centre-back, and I want to be a man of my word, so let's get cracking. Where is this story? Where are you? So many stories, not enough time, so many stories. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Right, there it is. So, we had a report from Paul Joyce that said Liverpool are looking for defensive reinforcements, but believe Inter Milan are ahead of them in the chase for 18-year-old centre-back Giovanni Leone from Parma. He was managed by Christian Kivu last season, and he has since gone on to manage Inter Milan. Now look, anybody who's been following this story for the last month or so will know that it's always been thought that Inter Milan would win the race for his signature. And it's probably the right move for him, if I'm being honest, at this point of his career. 18 years of age, probably best continuing to develop in Serie A. And also on that, I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't have been happy with an 18-year-old coming in. I'm not saying that this kid isn't a huge talent, but for what we need, I think we need somebody ready for now. And that's why I'm so adamant that Mark Gay should be the one we bring in, because I don't have faith that Gomez is going to be able to stay fit all season, nor do I have faith that we won't pick up an injury to Canade or VVD at some point. So I think we need experience for that extra centre-back, and that's where I'm at with it. So I'm hoping it's Mark Gay. And on that, let's talk about some of the barriers that are removing from this potential signing. Mark Gay is interested in joining Liverpool, said Lee Ryder. Newcastle were thought to be interested in him, but they have turned their attention to Malik Thiaw from AC Milan. So Liverpool almost getting a free run here at Mr. Mark Gay. And I just get the feeling, much like with Ugo Ekitike, I think he's waiting for us. And look, I know these things sound arrogant when we say them as fans, but it really does feel that way. If I'm guessing at this situation from the outside, it feels like Liverpool are just waiting for Crystal Palace's stance on the price to weaken a little bit. And for Crystal Palace's one, I reckon they're probably hoping for a bit of a bidding war here so they could get 2 or 3 clubs after Mark Gay. If Newcastle are really turning their attention to the AC Milan defender, then that probably gives Liverpool almost a free run. The big thing will be, do Crystal Palace have the ability to let Mark Gay run down his contract? Financially, can they do that if they can't get the figure that they want this summer? I think they'd be foolish to. It's a lot of money for a club like Palace to lose out on. And look, they may have Europa League football yet. Their appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, I believe, is being heard tomorrow. So we'll give you information on that when we have it. Now, Chelsea have suffered an injury today. There's been a confirmation that Levi Colwill has a cruciate injury. I don't want to say he's torn his cruciate ligament, but he has a cruciate injury, which will be keeping him out for a while. Now, I don't think that they're going to move for another defender, having brought in Jarell Haddo as well. So I don't think we have to worry about Chelsea, who have a sell-on clause, remember, for Mark Gay. So I don't think that's going to be an issue for Liverpool, personally. I also want to wish James Maddison the very best in his recovery. He's out with an ACL as well. So wishing him and Levi Colwill a speedy return. Never like to see players picking up those type of injuries. Always get at least one of these every summer, my man. Newcastle have agreed a deal to sign South Korean international Fuking No-Won for 48 million, 5 million in add-ons. No airlock though. Kim Jong-un will come in there and bid against. But look, it's looking less and less likely we're going to have to listen to any more Barcola nonsense, by the way, because this one's always stunk to high heavens to me. The idea that Liverpool were looking to bring in Bradley Barcola. But a report today claims that, well, Liverpool have tried to do it twice. Let me read out what I mean. So, there is a report today that says, and it kind of caught me off guard when I read it, to be honest, because I still don't believe it. The report said, where is it? So many stories. Julien Laurent, who was a really, really, really top-tier journalist, said PSG have rejected 2 approaches from Liverpool for Bradley Barcola. One earlier in the summer and one on Wednesday. PSG are not open to a transfer, nor does the player want to leave the league on side. What do we think about that? It's concerning to me because I don't rate Barcola that highly, but it is interesting that if two bids have been rejected, that it hasn't been spoken about far and wide by the likes of Romano, um, Plettenberg, Ornstein, or anybody from the Liverpool side. Now, we know that he's apparently on a list of players that Liverpool are looking at, but I won't lie to you, folks. I kind of did a little fist pump when I heard that it was rejected because I really don't want Bradley Barcola at Liverpool. And based off you guys last night as well, when we asked about it, I think if my memory's right, 54% of you guys said you'd have no interest either. Stevie Simpson, I should say, bro. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Right, let's get into the chat. Celtic are taking Stefan Bajcetic to join them, said Grim Reaper. Look, if you can get minutes and get another credible loan move, or is this a potential sale, it would be interesting to see. Bruno said, "Hey Craig, hearing your story during the Bilbao game truly moved me. Can't wait for October the 19th. First beer on me. Got Liverpool series rooted in the club and fans, and that is developing. Keen for your thoughts and input as well, the AA community." So, thank you, Bruno. I know some people don't like when I talk about the personal stuff, mate, but I think it's important that we speak about all of our journeys, battles, and, obstacles that we faced in life. Because, I'm here. And I really appreciate your kind words, and I appreciate the sentiment as well, mate. But there are people who've been through a lot worse than me as well. And I think we just have to be an example to the next generation to just give up. Not give up, I should say. Just give up. To not give up and plough on. And also, I had no choice. What do? You sit in your arse and accept that life's not going how you want, or do you knuckle down and try and change it? And thankfully for me, you guys came into my life and it all started going in the right direction. So I plan on not letting that opportunity slip. Liverpool just using Barcola to pile the pressure on Newcastle, said Dave Smith. I kind of agree. I do, mate. I agree. So let's run through the stories today, shall we, for the first few minutes while we're all getting settled in, and then we'll get stuck into the chat a bit more. So let me start. I won't go through the stuff I did in the early video. Let me go from here. Let me talk about this. So Arne Slot has been nominated for the 2025 Men's Team Coach of the Year in the Ballon d'Ors. Congratulations to Arne. We also have 4 players nominated: Virgil van Dijk, Florian Wirtz, Alexis McAllister, and Mohamed Salah have all been nominated for the Ballon d'Or as well. So well done to all those gents. This from Paul Joyce, speaking with Off the Ball, who are a group of lads over here in Ireland who are brilliant, by the way. If you don't know about Off the Ball, they're brilliant. Speaking about Liverpool and ISAK, he said, Liverpool will spend the money. There was talk of £150 million for ISAK. That was always Newcastle's valuation. I don't think Liverpool will go that high personally. I don't think they would see that as good value. And I don't blame them, because I don't see it as good value. Then we moved on to the story from the Mirror that we're talking about Crystal Palace basically not getting a bidding war here for Mark Guéhi, because Newcastle are turning their attention to AC Milan defender Malik Thiaw instead of Mark Guéhi. After that, we had the confirmation that it's looking like Sesko is going to become a Manchester United player. Next up was Graham Bailey, who said Alexander Isak is more than happy to train away from the Newcastle first team squad, as he considered his career at the club over. Also, Craig Hope said Alexander Isak will not play for Newcastle in the Cellar Cup games at the weekend. Next up was James Pearce talking about interest in Ben Doak, which is something that we haven't actually spoken much about this summer. So James Pearce has said Leeds United have now joined the list of clubs showing an interest in Liverpool winger Ben Doak. Liverpool would want around £20 million. If they don't receive an offer in that range, they're happy to retain him as a squad option. Now, for me, for what it's worth, I think we should be retaining Ben Doak this season as a squad option because of the way things are looking. So if we bring in Isak, I think a lot of us would argue we're still a player short in attack. So for me, Ben Doak getting the season, I would keep him around. I know that the plan has always been to sell him, but the way this window is going, I don't know if we're going to get the bodies in attack to give Arne the 6 forwards that he wants. So why not keep Ben Doak around rather than maybe scraping around trying to find a winger that might not suit just yet? So let me know your thoughts on that one. Next up, Ben Jacobs said, Newcastle's failure to sign Benjamin Sesko does not affect the Alexander ISAK situation. Newcastle have other attackers in mind. Newcastle's feeling remains that ISAK must be sold or extend with no middle ground. ISAK has today showing no willingness to extend. Liverpool are ready to bid again. Next up, we've got Transfer Sector, quoting Craig Houlden to say Chelsea will deal at £60 million with Newcastle for Nicholas Jackson. There's a relationship between Chelsea and Newcastle via the Saudi connections, and informal talks have already taken place over the striker's availability and his situation. Some among the hierarchy are keen, given his experience and age. However, I'm told that others will be pursued first. So he is an option there for Newcastle, but is he going to be the option? Let's wait and see. So the newspaper have said Newcastle are ready to move on to Nicholas Jackson, who they rate at around the £60 million mark. But there would need to be movement from the Blues, who value him closer to 70. Then we have Keith Downey saying Aston Villa reject an £18 million bid from Everton for John McGinn. Villa say he's not for sale. Newcastle also interested but haven't yet made an offer. Right, a couple of super chats before I go through the rest of the news. Kev Wright, how are we, dude? 21st year of sobriety. Well, congratulations, sir. That is fantastic. Well done. Proud of you. That is a great achievement, Kev. Well done. Patrick said, do you think Mamadashvili will get minutes this season? I do. Now, some of those minutes might come down to whether, Alisson picks up an injury or not. But you'd imagine the domestic cups will probably be Georgie's, maybe one or two of the handy games if we get them in the Champions League. But it's also going to be up to him to capitalise on any opportunities that he got. Like Caoimhín Kelleher, I certainly feel did us proud as a deputy to Alisson. But yeah, Georgie, we've seen a little bit in pre-season, but a bit more to come. TOTT 2KZ1 Wayne, how are we? Said, have we signed ISAK yet? I need a striker from Sweden. Hopefully Newcastle get a striker. We can get our boy. What would your starting 11 be from Sunday? Well, I don't want to give you my starting 11 for Sunday because I'm going to be recording a preview for it tomorrow. So, yeah, it'll be out on Saturday. But, yeah, we are putting a preview out. And it was really exciting doing it because even just writing down the names and sending them to Connor, for the first time, I could actually see the strength of Liverpool's team, like right there in front of me as I was writing it out. So, exciting and... yeah, looking forward to the weekend. Jordan, how are we, my man? Barcola is better than Doak. Well, yeah, he is. I mean, I don't think anybody's trying to say Barcola isn't better than Doak, but one of them is a player we already have, and the other one is a player that doesn't want to leave Paris, and we've had 2 offers rejected for, so there you go. Right, this one. So, Florian Plettenberg said, exclusive, FC Bayern have made inquiries about Nicholas Jackson in the past few hours. Bayern have gathered information on his current status, price and conditions. Newcastle are seriously interested. It gets funnier though, because just before I went live, Florian Plettenberg tweeted this, and welcome to social media, Florian. He said, since the wildest insults are flying around again, Bayern gathered information about Jackson. Nothing more reported, nothing less. And also, confirmed from other journalists, Bayern are still exploring options on the market. Players are being offered to them. Bayern gathering information doesn't mean they're going to sign him. Focus remains on Voltmada. Other market opportunities are being assessed. Nkunku is off the radar. Herbal is doing his homework. And if after gathering information it turns out that Jackson isn't an option, then that's simply a normal part of the process. Looks like there was a bit of backlash there. And look, you don't want to see anybody getting abuse, but it's been a mad time for Newcastle and their fans in the pursuit of a striker. And I wonder is a big chunk of the abuse he's getting, which again, I absolutely do not condone. Banter is fine, abuse, no. But I wonder is it from frustrated Liverpool fans who were just thinking, could they ever get a signing over the line, please? Can Newcastle please sign somebody? Stargirl, my friend, how are we? Hope you and your dad are well. Agreed, Ben Doak is still learning. Imagine what he could learn with all these new players. And of course, Mo. Yeah, a lot. So I'm going to ask on that one. Should we keep Ben Doak around for the season? So let's start with that one. Should we keep Doak this season? So, should we keep Ben Doak this season? Yes or no? And we'll see what you're thinking. Does anybody have much faith that we're going to get 2 forwards in? Because something Paul Joyce said today really, firstly, it caught Connor's eye and then it caught my eye. And I wanted to discuss it with you because, you know, sometimes I read too much into wording. Sometimes it's intentionally done. But there was one thing he said today that just caught my eye. So bear with me. Which one is it? This one. So, Paul Joyce said, reports of interest in Paris Saint-Germain's Bradley Barcola have been downplayed, in part because of the emergence of Rio Ngamoa, who was 17 at the end of the month and has made a strong impression in pre-season. He said Liverpool are also looking for defensive reinforcements, but believe Inter Milan are ahead of them in the race for 18-year-old centre-back. Where was the other story? He went on to say, where was it? Sorry, tripped myself up here. That Liverpool are looking to bring in forwards, plural, in this summer's market. And I'm dubious about that, to be honest, about whether we're looking to bring in more than one forward. I'd love us to bring in more than one forward, but I'm not sure. I don't believe it, to be honest with you. Because one, where are they going to play? Who are they going to displace? Or even where are they going to fit into the squad? Like, if you were to bring in, let's say, a Rodrigo or a Bradley Barcola, which are 2 of the names being discussed, and an ISAK, I don't know how you manage to get all those players in and happy. With a young player, maybe like a Malik Fofana, perhaps you could structure his minutes a bit more. But I'm very, very dubious about bringing in ISAK and a big name winger. IFI Mustard, I just want us to get ISAK before thinking if we need another forward, in all honesty. Well, look, we will, but we also have to put some type of contingency in place as well, just in case. Anyway, I need to get back to the news because there was more stories I had to go through for you. So we've done that one already. We've done James Pearce's one. Romano said, Liverpool maintain their focus on Alexander Isak for the final weeks of the summer window. A new proposal is ready to be submitted if Newcastle open the door to the move. Isak doesn't want to play for Newcastle. He wants to leave and he wants to join Liverpool. Then we had a story. We've done them too from Craig Hope. We've done that one. We've done that one. This one from Magpie Media said, major breaking. Yohan Wissa to Newcastle will happen, according to Craig Hope. Brentford are interested in Bournemouth forward Dango Ouattara and play to replace the 28-year-old. If they make progress on him or any other attacking target, expect immediate movement on Wissa to Newcastle. The player wants to sign and he's communicated this to those on Tyneside. A package worth around 35 million should be enough to secure the deal. But that's at odds with what's been reported about the price that Brentford are looking for, which is rumoured to be closer to 50 million quid. So let's wait and see. Julien Laurent said PSG rejected 2 approaches from Liverpool from Barcola, one earlier this summer, one on Wednesday. The I newspaper said Alexander Isak's camp plan to apply pressure on his situation at Newcastle, which may force the club to buckle as he looks to leave the club and pursue a move to Anfield. So it looks like Isak isn't for changing at this point. And like I've said, Newcastle are now accepting that sale is going to happen when they recruit a forward. Right, where are we at? Let's go. Mohammed said, who do you think we get first, GUEHI or Isak? Ooh, good question. I'm going to say Mark GUEHI, but maybe that's because I feel like that's the need as well, more. But yeah, I'll say a centre back anyway. Maybe that's because, like I said, I'm nervous that we haven't brought one in yet. Hey Craig, great job. Thank you. Keep it up as somewhat addicted. Well, thank you. I don't want you addicted to anything, but if you're addicted to something, might as well be this fantastic Irish man. Bangor, Northern Ireland, sure, it's only up the road. It is. It is absolutely. Not too far up the road indeed. Bangor, no. Patrick said, any idea how to convince a 3-year-old to be a Liverpool fan? don't give them a choice is kind of what the role I went down with my son. As soon as he was born, he was in liverbird stuff, and I said to him, "Look, son, you can come to daddy and tell me anything. I don't care who you love. I don't care what religion you want to be a part of. But if you tell me you're a Manchester United fan, you're dead to me, and there's the door." That's it. That's the only talk he got. Like, so, something like that, I would imagine, is the way forward, my man. Just, you can tell daddy anything, just not that you're a United fan. Then you're dead to me. Nick said, did you see the Newcastle fan who lost his mind on TalkSport? What a cruel window this has been to them. Is there any other type of fan that goes on to TalkSport, though, to be fair? Like, I've not known a rational conversation to go on that station. So, look, it has been a really tough window for Newcastle fans. But in theory, it's also been a tough window for us because we've had to put up with their stupidity in the market. Well, look, it's not Newcastle fans' fault that their club can't seem to sign anybody. But yeah, I mean, here's what really baffles me about that, right, Nick? They scraped into the Champions League, even though they didn't win on the last day of the season. And, I think it was Aston Villa who shit the bed. So they got in there and they should have been counting their lucky stars and looking to jump on that immediately. But I don't know. Like I've said, it feels like Newcastle's inner workings are being exposed here as being not up to the job. ISAK, if you look at any of the reports around ISAK from Craig Hope or the other journalists, Craig Hope is saying that ISAK's been telling them for a year that he wants out. Even Melissa Reddy's piece yesterday suggested that he informed Newcastle, regardless of when we were coming in, that this summer he was leaving and he wanted out, and Newcastle had plenty of time to sort it out, and they haven't done it. So it's been a bit of a shit show from start to finish. Brandon said, best channel around. Thank you, dude. But look, the channel is only as good as the people who are here with us. So thank you to all of you guys for being here. I told my daughter you only support Liverpool and that's it. Exactly. You're doing right, mate. Well done. Great parenting. Well done. Love your channel. Be proud, bro. Keep it up. Thank you, David. Appreciate you, my man. I don't know. Today I'm in great form. I was so looking forward to today. Had a really nice, peaceful day. Looking forward to jumping on and chatting with everybody. And 8:45 just couldn't come quick enough. Have you seen Kane's penalty miss? I didn't, Luke. I did see that he'd missed the penalty, but I was just following it on one of the score apps. I'd seen they were 3-0 down or something at that point. So, no, haven't seen it. But look, happens to the best. Even the great Mohamed Salah missed the penalty in pre-season. One of the TalkSports commentators said that Newcastle are shopping in M&S rather than Tesco. They need to go for players that they can afford and will go to Newcastle. Whatever has happened, it's tough to see what Newcastle's plan was in this window. It doesn't look like they had a target that they were working on behind the scenes ready to go in the summer. So we knew Liverpool had X, Y, and Z, and we were going to move for them. Kirkes as an example. Newcastle, knowing for a year that ISAK wanted out and still hadn't got somebody ready to go, they lost out on so many targets this summer. The likes of Liam Delap lost him. Obviously, Mbomo, Cunha, gone. Ekitike, bye-bye. And it's just continued. Benjamin Sesko. Even losing Benjamin Sesko to an absolute shit show of a United team is, it's just not, it's not a great look, is it? And there's another name that's been added to the mix, by the way, and that's Strand Larson from Wolves. He said he's higher up on the short list than many others, according to Craig Hope of the Mail. So Strand Larson, another name perhaps there for Newcastle. Ben Richardson said Doak needs to be sold for the betterment of his career. That is a fair point. I'm being selfish, though, in this scenario, mate, because I don't think we have enough bodies yet up top. So let's look at what we're going to move on this summer. So obviously Diogo, that situation is self-explanatory. We know Darwin Nunez is finalising a move over to Al Hilal as we speak. We've sold Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich. Federico Chiesa will probably move back to Italy. So we've lost 4 and we've brought in young Rio. So, okay, that's one replacement. We've brought in Ugo Ekitike. here endeth the lesson basically so far. So we need ISAK to come in. And then for me, if we can get in another player, great. If not, I think Ben Doak being here would, give us more time and cover as well. Have United sorted out that slow dead ass midfield yet? No, but they're apparently somehow able to afford to look at Carlos Baleba. I mean, I don't understand how United are pulling this money out their backside when they were firing people left, right, and centre and cutting the crust off the sandwiches. I don't get it. Even United fans I've spoken to don't get it, to be honest. Jack's real. It's gone to my first game on Sunday. Can't wait. Class. And Wembley as well, by the sounds of it, if you're going to Liverpool. And that's brilliant, mate. Enjoy. Never been to Wembley. It's certainly been on my bucket list. But yeah, enjoy it. I hope you have a great one. Manny said free ISAK. Yeah, we're going to have to get that hashtag going at this point, aren't we? We need an Ekati ISAK as well. We need to get that one on the go. The Newcastle fans are 100% blaming ISAK and not their owners and management for this fiasco. I get that. Look, like I've said, I'm a card-carrying, proud hypocrite when it comes to football. So if I was a Newcastle fan's position, I'd probably be feeling a bit angry about ISAK as well. But I'd also be feeling angry at the board. Especially when you've got journalists who are Newcastle-centric journalists like Craig Hope, who have no need or desire to be complaining about Newcastle behind the scenes. But when he's out there saying that Newcastle have been aware of this situation with ISAK for a very, very long time, it does feel like there is a dereliction of duty there as well. Now, of course, football fans are always going to be angry when a player wants to leave the club. Some go too far with it. Some are a bit more realistic on it. But right now, there is a lot of anger. And I get it from Newcastle fans. I've tried to say this all the way through the window. I understand the pain that they're feeling on it. But again, I think they're not giving themselves enough time. Sell ISAK and get moving. Get moving with your window, because what is there now? 4 weeks? Just under 4 weeks left? If I must, Craig, I think it will play out how you said at the start of the season. A quick start, sell, and then a late influx. Probably. That's looking that way. Chris, lovely to see you in again, my friend. Thank you. Hope you're well. Said, I think we need a bit of left-footed right winger for the future to learn off Mo. Much different now, wingers cut inside compared to back in the day. There definitely is a punch on, Chris. We got that word for inverted wingers these days. And sometimes I find it really funny, Chris, because I'll be interacting with somebody on a platform or something, and I'll say, oh, well, we could put this player out on that side. And they'd say, no, he's the wrong foot. He has to cut inside. It's like, if you've forgotten you're allowed to go around the outside as a winger. Showing my age here, but sometimes when I wasn't playing as a goalkeeper, I'm a left footer, so I played left wing, and I never played inverted, always wide left. So maybe I think it's a culmination of two things. So from watching and listening to coaches speaking about it, Chris, apparently the percentage of conversion from crosses or attacks when you attack the half space, so the space between the 18-yard box and the 6-yard box, is far better. So I think that's why we're seeing Liverpool really attack those underlying or underlapping spaces and the half spaces. But yeah, it's mad, mate. It really does baffle me how some people just are so insistent that every winger has to invert. But I don't know, it's mad because Fofana's gone really quiet, right? So we had that news that Everton were interested in Malik Fofana a few weeks ago. And now nothing's really happened since that. So is Liverpool's interest still there? Because I could see us getting Fofana and ISAK in. I think that would be an achievable set of targets to get done. Right, where was I? Mark had sent me something. This one, what's this one? One sec. So Romano said Liverpool really like Giovanni Leone and he's on the shortlist for a young centre-back. While there are no ongoing negotiations, it is clear that if Liverpool were to decide on the Parma defender, it would be difficult for others to compete. So I don't know if what Romano means there is from a financial perspective, Liverpool would be able to offer more to the likes of Parma maybe than Inter Milan could, or in wages, but a lot of the stuff that I've read certainly suggests that Leone is most likely to end up at Inter Milan. Right, so the first poll of the night, we said, should we keep Ben Doak this season? Do have a little vote on that if you haven't yet. Wesley, how are we, bro? Said, on vacation at the beach, wanted to pop in and say, love you, bro. Thank you, man. Love you right back. How you're well and great. Hope you're well and great with podcast and the boys. You're an amazing human. Thank you. Just sent the two boys actually a jersey each as a little thank you for coming back to the podcast as well. Yeah, I'm a weird person, right? I get more pleasure out of doing stuff for other people than myself, and I don't make any qualms about it. I really feel happy when you can do these little things for people. So yeah, I literally just ordered the two lads their shirts as a little thank you for coming back and joining me on the podcast. So really excited about that, Wesley, and I couldn't think of two lads I'd rather do it with as well than Chris and Steve. So absolute pleasure to be back recording with the gents. I believe ISAK will happen. Also think GUEHI plus another centre-back and a young winger, said Tommy Angel. Thank you, Tommy. I think ISAK happens as well, Tommy, for what it's worth. I really do. As every day goes on now, it just feels like it's a matter of when and not if with ISAK. Remember our recruiting last season, Craig? JD, I do, mate. I had many, many angry, sleepless nights about that. Well, I think we should rather say lack of recruitment last year. Levi, how are we? Said, what is the latest on young Harvey? I know he's likely to move on, but would rather keep him, or would love to keep him. So let me answer that with the information that's just fallen into my lap over the last while. So we know that Leipzig are interested in Harvey Elliott, and we know that as fans, most of us would like to keep Harvey, but I think we're also realistic in the sense that we know that he wants to go and play. So it's a World Cup year, and he wants to try and force his way now into Thomas Tuchel's plans. Obviously, was part of the England team that won the Euros and was the star boy, player of the tournament. So it feels like the right decision for him to move on if we put aside our selfishness as fans of wanting to keep him because, one, we like him, and two, because he's a good player. It does feel the right option. Now, I don't think we're leaving ourselves short by moving Elliott on. I think that we have enough by way of number 10s, so to speak now, or creative players with Florian coming in. So this piece here from Anfield Edition and Transfers.com said Tottenham are making significant progress in the signing of Harvey Elliott. The midfielder is keen on the move after holding conversations with Thomas Frank, and Spurs would be willing to meet Liverpool's £40 million valuation with the buyback clause. So I think with the James Maddison injury, this has probably pushed it along. Now, I know there's been lots of stuff over the last couple of days about RB Leipzig, but I've always had my doubts about them having the ability to really pay what Liverpool would want here. So let's wait and see. We know Jurgen is driving that interest from the Leipzig side, according to reports. But for me, I always said Elliott to Spurs, Elliott to Newcastle felt far more sensible of a signing. If I was him, and I'm not trying to pacify Newcastle fans here, but if I was Elliott, I'd be looking at Newcastle and thinking, I'll have me a little bit of that, thank you, Champions League football, and they're looking for a new hero, and I, again, think Harvey Elliott would be a great bit of business for them. Ryan, I have a bad feeling we don't get ISAK. Feels like nobody wants to go to them. I don't think they want to replace Jackson. So I can't tell you how to feel, Ryan. I can't. But I'm telling you now, every day I'm getting more and more and more assured that it's happening, because there's no talk anymore of it not happening. It is all just a matter of when at this point, even from Newcastle's side. I think the only thing that may stop it from happening now would be if Newcastle really do lose their mind and think it's £150 million or nothing. Because I struggle to see Liverpool paying that, because he's not worth it. You know, it feels weird because I'm going to sit here and say we might get it done at 130. So 130 to 150, it's still mad numbers. But yeah, I can't see us getting to 150. I can't. So Newcastle have to be somewhat realistic, because he's not worth 150. Even in this mad market where forwards are at a premium, £150 million is just insanity, and a number that feels like somebody just plucked out of thin air. John, Allison, how are we? Doak, only 12 months left on his contract, same as Ibu. I must admit, John, I didn't know that, so thank you. And if that's the case with Doak, well, probably a sale is the right option unless you can convince him to sign the new deal. But I didn't know that, John, so thank you for that. David Sultana said 2 dozen... What? I don't know what you mean here. 2 and 2... You mean 2 forwards and 2 centre-backs? What do you think our chance is? To bring 4 in... I don't get the feeling, David, 2 centre-backs is on the agenda. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to be much talk about it. 2 forwards, I can point you to 2 or 3 journalists that have spoken about. But 2 centre-backs doesn't seem to be being talked about much. And I would say I'd be on the side of 1 forward, 2 centre-backs if I had to pick. But at the moment, I'm thinking I'd be happy with 1 of each at this point. You know, if the window closed and we had ISAK and Mark A, I'd be happy. But then it would depend, I suppose, on the likes of Ben Doak. What happens there? Does he get kept around? Right, let's end this poll. So, we're nearly at 3,000. We'll let it go to 3. Right, next one up. Owen. I've no idea how Baleba is even possible for United. No Europe and no sales. LFC have to prioritise GUEHI and possibly Leone. ISAK can wait. So, like you, mate, I cannot for the life of me figure out how United could even contemplate signing Baleba financially. I was reading up on what our friend in the chat said yesterday, Shane, about the protests before the Arsenal game that United fans are going to have, because they're quite frankly disgusted with the way Jim Ratcliffe has operated and ran the club, very much against the ethos and the social roots of Manchester United, with the way he's sacked off all of these staff. And now suddenly a club that we were all told were months away from having no money left and had 140 odd million quid of committed transfer funds that they already had to pay this summer from previous deals, are now able to go out and spend 65 odd million quid or whatever it is on Sesko, Brian Mbomo, Mateus Cunha, looking at Baleba. It just all feels like something stinks there. And it's obviously a situation for United fans to discuss, but I can't figure it out either, dude, how they can afford it. Unless they're going for a massive roll of the dice and thinking, we either do this now, go big and it works, or we're screwed. But if it didn't work and they went big, screwed. Justin said, Craig, do you know if ISAK has handed Newcastle a formal transfer request? If he hasn't, do you think it would make a difference at this stage? So, would it make a difference? Well, probably yes, but more from a financial standpoint. So, to the best of my knowledge, when a player puts in a transfer request, they forgo some loyalty bonuses, I believe, and also a percentage of the sale. So, it might be a way of getting the price down a little bit. But I'm not aware of a formal one having gone in. There's been talk of it, but like I said, I've not seen a definitive yes, it's gone in. So I'm working off the assumption no. Should we keep Ben Doak to the season? 65% of you guys and girls said yes. 3,000 people voted in that, and thank you for it. Joanne Reed, how are we, dude? Said, Greg, what's up, my man? We Jamaicans been waiting on ISAK. Liverpool getting ISAK is like Jamaica getting independence in 1962. I remember when I was over in Jamaica, again, brief stopover on a cruise when I was on my honeymoon, but I remember talking to a couple of the locals about John Barnes as well. It was a great footballing chat, actually, Joanne, to be honest with you. One of my favourite football chats I've had, because I was particularly herbally infused. Let's start with that. And on my holidays, on my honeymoon, just married, nice and relaxed in Jamaica, chatting with some Jamaicans about footy. It was a pretty good day, mate. Yeah, it definitely goes down as one of the good days. Simon Maguire, how are we, mate? Any relation to Harry? Steve, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my friend. Appreciate you. Is there any chance Chiesa stays? Said S. Savage Blaze. Yes. I guess there's always a chance if nobody puts up the money. But what I'd seen in the last couple of days is that Liverpool are even apparently open to the idea of a loan for Chiesa with an obligation at the end of it. So It feels like he'll move, but it certainly doesn't feel like clubs are queuing up at this minute to bring him in, does it? You know, we keep hearing about the Ademola Lookman deal that's Atalanta are waiting for to sell him to Inter, but to the best of my knowledge, that hasn't gotten over the line yet unless something's changed today. Harissa Sports, unless we get ISAK, I feel Hughes has botched this. So I might be in the minority here. But how do I say it? I won't lose my shit if we don't get ISAK. If we don't get another body in and move on the forwards where we look like we're moving on, I feel like we'll be intentionally leaving ourselves short. But I've tried to be fair all the way through this and say ISAK feels like the cherry on the icing, not the necessity. We've got in Ekitike, so we've got a forward in through the centre. ISAK would be amazing, and by all accounts, I can give you plenty of opportunities or reasons as to why we'd still be able to get minutes for both of them. But I don't know. It would just feel, even for me, who moans at FSG for years, it would feel a little bit like a tantrum to throw my toys out with a pram in a summer where we've brought in Wirtz, Frimpong, Kirkes, you know the list. You don't need me to go through it. So for me, I'm more angry about the idea of the centre-back right now than I would be about ISAK. Now, we do need numbers, and I hope and believe it will be ISAK, but I really, really don't want Bradley Barcola. Really, 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 really don't want Barcola. Paul said, can't be critical of our business this summer unless we fail to sign a centre-back. This has been a fantastic window. I agree, but what would you guys say, let's say, if we sold Darwin, we've already sold Diaz, and Chiesa goes. So let's just say all the business gets done, outgoing that we're expecting. Surely we'd be talking about being light up top numerically if we had Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike, Young Rio. I mean, that's kind of it at the minute. And I know we can say Wirtz can operate in a false yada yada, but let's be honest, he's a 10. So we need one more up top if we are to sell Darwin, which of course we are. We definitely need one more. Now, if it isn't ISAK, which it will be, but if it isn't, and if it isn't Barcola, I really don't know who it's going to be at this point. So for me, it's ISAK. And I really think ISAK's going to happen. But, okay, here's one for you. Okay. Okay, so something that I've struggled to really get my head around is the reporting that Liverpool want to bring in 2 more attackers. Now, I'm not trying to say this would happen and we'll ignore centre-back. Centre-back will be resolved, but I want to know, do you believe the reports that Liverpool are looking for 2 more attackers? Because it just feels strange to me. Like, I don't know where the second one would come from or who it would be. And especially if we're talking about an ISAK and a Barcola or an ISAK and a Rodrigo. I don't know. Right, where is it? So, here's the post I was looking for earlier on from Paul Joyce that piqued my interest. And the wording of this, maybe I'm reading too much into it, or maybe it's intentional. But the wording is, Liverpool will look to strengthen in attacking areas with the £46 million deal for Darwin Nunez exit now agreed with Al Hilal. So again, just to read that out, and this is a direct post from Paul Joyce, not a quote. Liverpool will look to strengthen in attacking areas with the £46 million deal for Darwin Nunez now agreed with Al Hilal. So that is plural in what he's speaking about there. Not Liverpool will look to bring in an attacker, will look to strengthen in attacking areas. So let's wait and see. This one. Mohammed. Mohammed said, sad to see Nunez go. Would have loved it to work out for him. Can't say I'm sad to see him go, but will say and openly say, sad it didn't work out. Because I was excited when he came in. Not at all surprised to read this today, actually, from Paul Joyce, to say Klopp's interest in Darwin Nunez felt very much like an overnight sensation, piqued by his performance for Benfica at Anfield. Klopp fell in love with the forward, but it was not the sort of exhaustive process Liverpool's recruitment team usually goes through. I think most of us probably agree with that, right? It felt like this was a vibes signing, and, you know, he was so good at Anfield, and he was, and Klopp obviously just seen something in him and decided he wanted him. I've said many, many times, I don't feel that was a recruitment team driven signing. It just felt like Klopp wanted him. Bruno, how are we, sir? Said, loving the new Adidas on you, mate. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. You should have been in the reveal video with the lads. We're going to be like City in 22-23 with that treble depth. I'm not going to lie. I'd probably... Or I'm going to be honest, dude. I'm going to be really honest. So, I did get my hopes up a little bit that maybe we get reached out to by Adidas, even just for an acknowledgement email or something, because I don't know. I know I don't get any acknowledgement from the club because I'm outspoken, and I've always kind of been at peace with that to some extent. But I really had got a delusional hope that maybe we got a little acknowledgement from Adidas, because I've been repping Adidas all the way through the bullshit Nike years and everything else. And I don't know, I'd hope maybe we get a little... I didn't want that for free off them. I just wanted a little email to go, yeah, we see you. We know you exist. That would have done. And yeah, maybe someday. Maybe someday. Mohammed said, do you think we lost leverage in the Canade talks due to the fact... due to the lack of fit centre-backs we have, need a decision ASAP, can't let another one walk away. Leverage, look, you lose leverage when you let it go into the last year, definitely. You know, regardless of anything else, it's a difficult negotiation at that point. What gives me confidence, Mohammed, is the quietness around the Madrid side of it. Like, maybe I'm delusional here, but I haven't seen anything from Madrid media spouting that they're going to sign Canade. Haven't seen it in a little while. So that, and a couple of Liverpool journalists saying that the discussions are still ongoing between Liverpool and Canade. It feels like we're going to get good news on Canade extending. But again, please don't take that as anything as inside information. It really isn't. But I'm certainly feeling more upbeat about the prospect of him extending at this point. You're right, though. We do have to get to a point where a decision's made one way or the other, because here we are in the window, and if he doesn't sign a new deal, well, it's looking like we're going to say, well, yeah, he's gone for free then at that point, because it doesn't seem like a sale is in the offing over the next few weeks, nor could we even think about a sale having not brought in a centre-back yet. Stevie boy, how are we, dude? 15 months with us as well. How are we? Said Macca to be vice-captain and talks of a new contract. So I've seen a couple of people talk about this Macca vice-captain thing. Can anybody tell me where they've seen that? Or, because I've not seen that and confirmed. Others believed it was going to be Salah. I really just don't know. But Macca would be a fine choice. Just, you know, I've said Macca all the way through, but that was just because he's a favourite of mine personally. But yeah, I've not seen anything to confirm it, unless I've missed something. Harry Sinclair, thank you for gifting 5 memberships, Harry. Really kind of you, mate. Namon said, much love would be lost without this family, WFM. As would I, mate, as would I, and much love to you as well. Appreciate you being with us. 21 months now as a member, sir. Thank you. Jimmy, how are we, sir? Morning, Craig. Love your work, mate. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate your support. Blows my mind, Jimmy, to think of people tuning in from all different parts of the world. And like I said before, it's a very cool and humbling thing to be a little bit of someone's daily routine. So thank you, my man. Appreciate you. Wasn't on from the start. What's the crack with GUEHI? What in Liverpool? So, Tony, basically, the only obstacle really, or the only real competitor we had in the race was Newcastle, who reports today suggest are turning their attention to Malik Thiaw of AC Milan, meaning we pretty much have a free run now at Mark GUEHI, and the bidding war that perhaps Crystal Palace wanted doesn't look like it's going to happen, and Liverpool are biding their time. So it looks like we have a free run at the lad, and I'd be astonished at this point if we don't get moving on it soon. Colwell done his ACL, Chelsea should pounce for GUEHI. Well, they just brought in a player, Michelle. And look, Chelsea have a sell-on clause on Mark GUEHI anyway, but I don't think they're going to bring in a player of that calibre to replace Colwell, who will be part of their future. And also they've brought in Joel Haddo from Ajax this week, so maybe they have to push him a little bit forward. As in, with his development, I mean. Right, let's keep going. This one, Harry. So, Craig, I have a proposition for your podcast. Okay. What's your email to email you about it? I can explain more if you want. So my email is contact@AnfieldAgenda.com, Harry. Contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. And I'm intrigued. Newcastle probably picking their transfer battles more carefully. I'm sure they won't want any more rejections. That's a good point, Tommy. Yeah, they certainly wouldn't want to go up against Liverpool again for a player, lose to us for a player, and then us to get ISAK. It would, it would be a little bit too much, I'm sure, for their fans to stomach after losing out on Ekitike. Dan, so I've been a follower for 2 months now. Wife calls the time of the day Craig o'clock. Yes, we love that. We love that, Dan. And hopefully there's many more months ahead. Appreciate you becoming a part of the community, Dan, and Craig o'clock. I like that. Philip Kemp, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, sir. Awesome said, who do you think would be the better transfer? Sesko, Gyökeres, ISAK or Ekitike? Easy, ISAK. Easy. Now, if you took ISAK out of that, it becomes a more difficult question. But in that one, mate, ISAK. Easy. Because he's by far and away the best of that bunch. But actually, do you know what? For shits and giggles, though, let's remove ISAK. Then Ekitike, Sesko, Gyökeres. I think that it's a more difficult question to answer. I think Ekitike and Sesko have a far greater ceiling left to get to than Gyökeres, who's at I won't say the latter part of his career, but he's in his prime right now. So you kind of know what you get there. But the likes of Sesko and Ekitike, they have very high ceilings. And if everything clicks for both of them, I think they'd go levels above Gyökeres personally. Nick, how are we, sir? So, Nick, I was only speaking to Connor again about you being right, and you were the other day when you spoke about the offers. So, again, just want to reiterate, you were correct on that one, sir. I said when we signed Wirtz that every striker in Europe will be banging the door to sign for us. If ISAK signs, then we'd have the 2 most expensive strikers to move this summer. Nice to be on top. It is. And it's nice to be moving like we're on top in a big club as well. Creepy Bot. So keep up the good work. I love your channel, even though it looked like you were going to throw the towel in, but you always stood up for yourself and kept going. Yeah, look, there's definitely been a couple of times, mate, I've nearly thrown the towel in. Sometimes the trolley shit gets to me. Sometimes I can brush it off. But at the minute, I'm enjoying myself immensely. What a summer, like, you know, how could we not be? I'm so excited to see how this season unfolds because everything is possible with the window that we're having. Thank you, Mark, for sending me on that, by the way. The Unrecognised said, loving the hoodie, Craig. Thanks for all the daily updates, top man. My pleasure. Yeah, like I said, I love making the little videos. but I love these streams even more because I get to come in and actually have a chat with you guys. What colour is my hair? It's amazing. Can you not see it? It's beautiful. Oh my God, like, are you blind? Look at it. I've parted it slightly to the left today. It's amazing. You know, I can't believe you can't see that, dude. You might want to go get your eyesight checked or something because I'm looking pretty dapper and, yeah, fresh trim. Nice. Love your channel, mate. Let's get to 350k subs. Please do, yeah. I'd love to get there as quickly as possible. So please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. Dean said, Craig, Neville wore shin pads to five-a-side. Have a word. That's fucking shocking. Dean, that's shocking. Shin pads to five-a-side. That's no, we can't be having that, mate. That's cowardly stuff. Who wears shin pads to five-a-side? Come on now. That's shocking. That is honestly shocking. Can we see a photo of you with hair? Yes. But look, I'm happy to show you a photo of me with hair, but there has to be a trigger warning. If your missus is there, she's probably going to leave you. But you asked for it. So yeah, I'll show you a picture of a younger me with hair. Now, again, not my fault if your missus leaves you after this because she realises she's picked a dud, but this is on you. There you go. Look at that. Devilishly handsome son of a bitch. You know, remember, you asked for it. Look at him. Delicious. I would. That's all I'm saying, lads. I would. Right. This one from Lee. Said, I almost feel for Newcastle. They either force their best player to stay, who might not, or who might not put effort in, or they sell and may not have a replacement. But in all honesty, it's kind of a mess of their own making. And I know that sounds really, really harsh, but if what the journalists have been saying is true about them knowing for a year or for months that ISAK was going to want out this window, their own failures are why they haven't got in another player yet. Because they knew Callum Wilson was going, so they knew they needed at least one forward in this window if they were keeping ISAK. And they've got nothing done. It's shocking. Like, you honestly have to wonder what the fuck is going on there. That had to be your brother. I'm an only child, so ain't got no brother or sister, mate. That was moi. And like I said, if I wanted to grow hair back, I could probably grow it now, but I probably would have a few little bald spots. But like I said, my missus hates me with hair, so no hair allowed. Steve, thank you. Appreciate you, mate. I don't know if YouTube did you dirty. You didn't get to put a comment in, Steve, but thank you. Right, let's look at this poll. Ooh, it's close. Do you believe the reports that we want 2 more attackers? That's the question we're asking at the minute. James Jepson said Newcastle didn't strike while the iron was hot. ISAK has played the waiting game and had enough. It's all on Newcastle for not being stronger early doors. I disagree with you, Craig. Why did ISAK wait to kick up a fuss after Ekitike? He didn't wait to kick up a fuss after Ekitike. Like, again, and this is not me trying to say I have inside knowledge on this, but the reporting has been there from yesterday. Let me read you out what Melissa Reddy said. Because we haven't heard much from Melissa Reddy in transfers this month, but she spoke or wrote something very, I thought, impactful that I want to read out to you. So bear with me, it'll take a couple of minutes. But Melissa Reddy wrote, the frustration for Alexander Isak and his camp is they feel they were clearly and respectfully informed Newcastle of the forward's desire to explore a fresh challenge well ahead of the summer. In doing so, it afforded the club the chance to attack the market on the front foot and secure a quality replacement long before it got to this messy point. It's not Isak's fault Newcastle have had a mare, missing out on many other top targets. If anything, it probably hardens the belief that their approach and ambition doesn't align with his. There is no solid recruitment foundation. I feel sorry for Eddie Howe, the players and the supporters. Newcastle are in the Champions League for the second time in 3 years and secured their first domestic trophy in 70 years, yet they are a structural mess off the pitch. Many at the club point to the power struggle that ousted Guendouzi and Staveley as the root of several issues, especially the lack of communication and human touch with the exit of the latter. Given how this window has gone, Newcastle may actually land a replacement for ISAK. If they force him to stay, can they get the maximum out of him in the absence of that human touch? If they sell him, can they be trusted to reinvest a British record sum wisely? So as you can see, like I've said, this isn't just Liverpool came in for ISAK and all of a sudden he wants to move. Newcastle knew that he wasn't happy. They didn't give him the new contract he was promised. And a whole year, in his eyes, has gone by without him getting that pay rise. They haven't strengthened in and around him. And like Craig Hope said the other day, it feels like that Newcastle project is a little bit all fur coat and no knickers, for want of a better phrase. And I did say knickers, Nickers, just in case anybody tries to cancel me on that one. Virginia. So do you think having a fellow Frenchman in the squad will influence Ibu to stay and sign a new contract? Don't know. Virginia, to be honest, I mean, it would never hurt having a fellow compatriot in the team or in the squad, would it? So it certainly wouldn't be a bad thing. We know Ibu's the life and soul of the party. Like, every time you see Ibu involved in anything, he always brings a smile to your face, doesn't he? So, look, I hope Ibu stays, like I've said, and I'm feeling quietly confident at this point because things have gotten quiet. Right, where else are we at? GUEHI and ISAK on deadline day. Newcastle are more likely to get a decent forward when the player has to decide fast. I think... Okay, I don't mean this to sound rude, but I'm going to be honest. I really don't give a fuck who Newcastle get, how shite the player is, as long as they get somebody in. The Johan Visa stuff could be interesting for them because if they got Visa in, that might soften the stance somewhat. Strand Larsen is another name that's been doing the rounds tonight as well. But I feel like they'll probably get a free run at Nicholas Jackson. I know Bayern are sniffing around in that, but it feels like if Newcastle actually moved quickly now, they could get Nicholas Jackson because Chelsea, I don't know the exact arrangement that they have with UEFA, but there was something about their business having to balance out or something this summer. There was some agreement. I can't know the ins and outs of it, but yeah, so I think that Chelsea could be not forced into a sale, but the world knows they're willing to sell Nicholas Jackson, and they're also trying to bring in Alejandro Garnacho, so the money certainly wouldn't be bad. And also, like, many journalists have spoken about that relationship behind the scenes, the relationship between Saudi and Chelsea's owners as well is quite good. Where are we? ISAK for vice captain, said Brian Connolly. No, not quite, mate, not quite. I really don't I don't mind who the vice captain is. Probably a fair way to say it. Craig, considering how fanatical Slot is about preseason and fitness, if and when ISAK signs, how long will it be before he plays, do you think? I think, realistically, the other side of the first international break, which I think is September, if my memory's right, even if he played for Newcastle or stayed at Newcastle, he hasn't had a preseason, so he does need to get up for fitness, and I would say you might see a couple of substitute appearances, but ultimately I would think after that September international break would be a more realistic time frame. Who's going to win the Ballon d'Or? Oh, good question. I don't know. Dembele, maybe? I think if we had gone a little bit deeper in the Champions League, maybe Mo would have had a better show. But Dembele, I wouldn't argue against Vitinha if he got a show. Yamal, not yet, but I'm sure he's a future winner. Yeah, it feels like another one of those years where there's no runaway, bona fide, nailed on candidate. I heard many people saying we shouldn't play Wirtz in the first game. Do you agree? No. Why wouldn't you want to play an amazing player in the first game? Especially when you've got no Ryan Gravenberch, so no Gravenberch, so you're probably going to have one midfield body less, it increases the opportunity or the likelihood to play Florian Wirtz for me. So, no, I definitely play him in the first game. ISAK, here we go next Friday. Source my brain. I don't mind when we get to here we go, as long as we get to here we go for ISAK at some point, my man. Right. So, nearly at 2,500 votes on this one. And we asked, do you believe the reports that we want 2 more attackers? Because I'm somewhat dubious. And also, float me some names who you think another attacker could be on top of ISAK. I hope Endo gets more game time. I don't think he will. Why no Grav? Picked up a red card at the end of the season, and this is the first competitive league game since, so hence no Grav for this one. And it is only a 1 game ban. I know some people worried it was a 3, but it's not. It was a 1. Fofana for sure. Yeah, I think Fofana is the safe, clever option, personally. Elise, God, imagine it'd be great. He's had a very good season actually at Bayern as well, Elise. I still couldn't believe that that they got him. I was really surprised at the time that he decided to go to Bayern. This one. From the unrecognised. We need ISAK to provide Gomez with an assist to smack in front 25 yards out. I don't know will Joe be ready? I think he might be ready for the start of the season, but I don't know if he's ready for this weekend. I think that one's looking touch and go from what Arna said. Eze, said Richard. I think, are Arsenal still in the mix for Eberici Eze? I know all summer they've been linked with him. And I think, doesn't he have a release clause as well, Eze? So, could be a deal that Arsenal could do rather straightforwardly if they wanted to. I never even thought about Eze from a Liverpool standpoint. I think Liverpool may view him as just about too old, if that makes... What is he, 26, 27, Eze? I don't know. It doesn't feel like a Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes type of signing, but... Bruno said, you think Trent is regretting his betrayal? I mean this sincerely, Bruno. I haven't paid any attention to what's happening with Trent since he left. I've seen a couple of little bits and pieces on socials, some screenshots that people sent to me, but when a player leaves Liverpool, mate, they're of no interest to me until they hang up their boots or they come, when we play against them. I don't give a damn what Trent does at this point. He made his bed, and when it all goes tits up for him, and it will, he had plenty of warnings from many people who told him that it was a stupid move to make, but it's his career and his decision, so let's see how it works out. What's your starting 11 versus Palace? I'm not saying it because I'm recording a preview for it, my man, so rather than tell you, I'd rather you watch it, but okay, we'll give you a sneak one. Connor's not listening, so I might get away with it really quickly. Allison, Frimpong, Kanade, Virgil, Kirkes, Gravenberch, Soboslai, Wirtz, Salah, Ekitike, Gakpo. That would be my 11. And the reason Maka isn't in the team is because he's still playing catch-up as well, so I don't know if he'd be ready to start. So that would be my sneaky little 11. Harry said, from a United point of view, Sesko, for how much he adds to us, is better signing. Not saying he'll perform the best, but because of how much better than our existing strikers he is. Yeah, I get where you're going on that, Harry. And look, I think you've got a good player in Benjamin Sesko. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If he hits, I think he hits big because he has all the attributes. Physical, knows where the goal is, already played in a good league. But it feels like you lads at United are too top heavy at this point and need more movement in midfield and probably some more defenders. And a goalkeeper, of course, as well. Right, so we asked, do you believe the reports that we want 2 more attackers? 53% said no, they don't believe the report that we want 2 more attackers. It's interesting because I don't believe it either. But maybe it's just because it would feel too good, or like we've again had too much of a mad window. So somebody said the Eze. Oh, so Eze's release clause has expired. Apparently, somebody in the chat was saying Marks has forwarded that on to me. That makes it interesting. Then Crystal Palace have far more control over that situation. Nick Alejandro, thank you, sir. Really do appreciate that. You're very kind. Core Blimey, 38 said, Craig, what's happening with the Elliott move to Leipzig? Or would he prefer Spurs? It's time, first time on the chat. Well, welcome in, mate. So there was a story today that said Spurs is looking likely. So transfers.com said Tottenham are making significant progress in the signing of Harvey Elliott. The midfielder is keen on the move after holding conversations with Thomas Frank. Spurs would be willing to meet Liverpool's £40 million asking price with a buyback option. If I'm him, I'm staying in the Prem and going to Spurs or Newcastle or somebody like that rather than going over to Leipzig. Obviously, with Leipzig, you'd have Jurgen there and he'd probably be driving that interest, but it just feels like a far better move for him, especially now that Maddison's out with an ACL. You would, I think Spurs fans would love Elliott as well, and of course he's got Champions League football with them this season if he goes there. Craig Sideaway said, "Hey Craig, hope you're well. Any big news in the last few hours?" Nothing I would say is earth-shattering, mate. No, nothing really. Levi Colwill doing his ACL or having an ACL injury is, I'm hoping, not going to spring Chelsea into action to try to sign Mark A, but I still expect movement on the centre-back soon from us. Well, look, let's be honest, it should have happened by now. You mentioned in my last chat that I was right about the offers the other day when you were talking with Connor. I'm not sure I remember what I said. You had said that I said that the 2 bids for Sesko were accepted by Leipzig, Nick, and you said they weren't accepted, but they weren't turned down either because there was mixed reporting at the time. So it turns out, like I said, that you were right about what you were hearing and I was wrong about some of the stuff I was reading. So that's what I was discussing, my man. Stargirl, so not being horrible to Newcastle, but we shopped for bargain basement players for years. Nobody predicted Salah would be the player he is now. Yep, and also Newcastle have a decent squad. Like I was looking at a potential 11, and yeah, there was 2 names in there that looked a bit far fetched, but they still have a good midfield as an example. Guimaraes, Tonali, they've got Jolinton there who works very hard for them. They've got Anthony Gordon. They've got Alanga that they just brought in. They've got what's his face that used to be at Leicester, Harvey Barnes, who had a very good end to the season. The goalkeeping department is still a weird one. I can't understand why they got Aaron Ramsdale. They should have gone for Kelleher. But you are right, Stargirl, but there doesn't seem to be awareness of from some Newcastle fans of their standing in the game. Like, talking about us as a competitor is respectfully kind of nonsense. We're a leap ahead of them as a club. Not to say they won't get there, but there needs to be some self-realisation in these windows as well of where you're at and how attractive you currently are. Benjamin, I'm very excited for ISAK. All aspects are falling into place now. PIF getting Darwin on the cheap. This saga is coming to an end. Just let it ride. Enjoy it. Our number 9 will be here for years. I agree. There isn't really any doubt in my mind we get ISAK at this point, mate. Like you've said, a lot of things are starting to happen. And also, I don't think we'd be agreeing to get rid of all these players if we didn't have a very, very good indication that we're going to get a replacement in. Craig, poll on the Premier Champions League to close off. Sure, no problem. Can do that one. Right, so pick one to win this season. So we'll go Premier League. And by the way, I know people are going to say both, but for argument's sake here, it's a one or the other. So Premier League or Champions League, which one are you having this season if you were to pick one? I'm going to say the answer will be Premier League, because when we do these polls, it usually is. And the fact that we could go back to back and go one ahead of United as well, I think that'll probably tip it in that favour. Chris, Tatton Music, how are we, sir? Craig, how are we? Well, the article saying Darwin was an overnight sensation, do you reckon Minamino was the same after he played us? Could be. It's a good point. We had an issue with that even before Jurgen came in, even when Rodgers was here, about signing players that played well against us. And it was one that always worried me. And it always felt like the Darwin signing Chris was that way, that Jurgen just got a good vibe off him, and seeing all the attributes and strength, pace, power, all the stuff that he had and, showed at Anfield, but risky way to invest a large sum of money without what seems like proper due diligence done in the background on the numbers behind him, because there seemed to be one good season really there with Benfica. Cecilia Bambolina said, Prem, of course, we already have the most European Cups among English clubs. We need to surpass United League titles. So, I get it, but I'm normally, Cicely Bambolina, I'm normally a Champions League person. And also looking at the fact that Arna's come in and won a Prem, I'd love to see him get the Champions League as well, because another Champions League would be delicious, especially after last season. I felt like we left a bit on the table, but push to shove, I probably agree. I'd probably go Prem for this season, because back-to-back, the tears would be delicious from Arsenal fans for a start, and going one clear United on top of that, and there'd be no way that they could cry arse. Although, I'll tell you already, they'll say we bought the league title if we win it this year. Last year it was the PGMOL, then it was COVID the one before that, and now they'll say we bought it. They'll never just say we were the best team, which I always like, because I love being in people's heads, whether it's Liverpool, me personally, or whatever. I love seeing people just do everything to try to undermine any good things we do. Chelsea scare me more than Arsenal and City. I don't know what to make of Chelsea. It's a tough one, because I can understand exactly why you've said that, but there is something to trying to knit together all those players as well. I do think in the longer term, Sonder, yes, Chelsea are going to be a huge problem, but right now, I don't see it. I think they'll have a good start to the season. I think they'll have an inconsistent patch at some point, but they are going to be a problem in the future. They are. I wish I could talk this way to my smart-ass students. Look, I've said this multiple times. I treat people as they treat me. If they come in and act like an asshole, I will rip them to shreds. Unapologetically rip you to shreds. Because why the fuck should I show you respect? You've shown me none. Your entire purpose was to try to belittle me, undermine me, and call me a liar. So if anybody comes in with that attitude, they're going to get double barrel, because I don't give a fuck. But if you come in like 99% of people who have a genuine question or are respectful, I will never have a go at you. Why would I? Respect is a two-way thing, and I ain't putting up with disrespect from anybody. Not my family, not my kids, not my friends, not my neighbours, nobody. I've earned my respect. I treat people well. I expect to be treated the same. So, Sticky Vicky or any other fucking wet wipe that wants to come in to try and have a pop, it ain't going to work out too well. And I'm never going to apologise for ripping somebody to shreds that has no interest in showing my community respect. Simple as that. It's easy. Respect is a minimum in life. It shouldn't be a hard thing. I can't make up for what other parents' failures, but you will show respect in my community, to my community, and to me, or you will fuck off. Simple as. And I make no apologies for it, nor will I ever. If game time leading up to the World Cup is all Chiesa wanted, you'd be okay with a loan just for this season. Yes and no, because he's also getting a year older. I didn't see it as someone having a pop. Well, then you're also weird. So why do you lie to us? You don't see it as somebody having a pop. Bit over the top. No, you're another idiot. So why do you mislead somebody for clicks? That's not somebody having a pop, dum-dum. No, Paul, that's not somebody having a pop. Why do you mislead us for clicks? Isn't somebody having a pop? Cool. So if I said, why are you a cunt? Would that not be me being abusive? No. That wouldn't be me having a pop? No. Silly boy. Silly boy. And again, I don't knock on your door and tell you to come in here, mate. You come in because you want to listen or be part of the chat or learn something. So remember that. I don't make you come here, dickhead. But I will remove you very quickly. Would you rather win the Champions League or Premier League? Would I? Normally I'd say Champions League because I love the Champions League. But I do get this season for the Prem again for the reasons that you all said, you know, back to back. Yeah. So I agree. I'd go Prem this year, but then it's back to Champions League for me because I love Champions Leagues. Where am I? Right, let me get through a couple more of these. Shit, which one did I forget? Oh yeah, that one. That one. So, sorry, Arthur, to get back to your question. I just think if you're loaning out Chiesa, it's another year of his contract that's gone by. He's gotten another year older. And the likelihood of you recouping any type of a decent fee, I think, diminishes over the course of the time. So, yeah, I just say sell. I still don't understand why we bought him, you know, because there doesn't seem to be a plan there to bring him in to utilise him. Like, it couldn't be... it couldn't be that it was fitness for an entire season because we had plenty of time to get him fit. So it always felt a bit weird to me, mate, about why he was brought in. Haven't heard that word for a while. See you next Tuesday. Yeah, I know I save it for special occasions these days, but I feel like yeah, I feel like it deserves the use, to be honest with you. And I don't understand this either. Like, just in life, do you like being disrespected? Because I don't. And I'm pretty friendly, as I think you can see. If you come in with good intentions, I will spend all my night chatting with you and having fun with you and being respectful to you. But I'm not here to be belittled or disrespected by anybody, because I wouldn't allow it in real life if you were standing in front of me, and I'm certainly not going to allow it behind a keyboard from some arsehole. This one. I believe we do a Premier League and Champions League double, said Carl. Look, I'd be a liar, dude, if I said it wasn't possible. Going into this season, definitely possible to do both. But it would feel really arrogant to say, I think we're going to do both of them. Yeah, but it is possible. Definitely, Carl, it is. Harry, I answered with the one, I think you'll win more Premier League, but I'd rather win a Champions League. My preference would be Spurs to win the Champions League because my cousin supports them. Yeah, I respectfully, I don't see Spurs winning the Champions League this year. That Super Cup could be interesting between them and PSG. That could get ugly for Spurs. But then again, you know what? I didn't expect Chelsea to beat PSG in the Club World Cup, and they deservedly beat them. Like, they were the better side. Maybe gave a little insight into how to go about playing that Paris Saint-Germain team, because I thought Chelsea nullified so much of the stuff that frightened the crap out of me when we played PSG, which was that really intense press, and their ability to play around your own press. I thought Chelsea, maybe they got them at a time where PSG were a little bit tired, but that's still unfair to Chelsea. They wiped the floor with them that day, in all honesty, and it was an impressive display. Kaz said, "Morning, Craig and everybody. Hey, looking forward to the season. Can't wait to see the newbies in the team. Much love, Caroline." Yeah, I can't wait either, Caroline. It's been a weird preseason because I don't remember us. Maybe the Bilbao game, the second one. I don't remember us really going strong in an 11 in preseason. It's been tough. Like, I know they would have been training together behind the scenes, but I would have liked maybe to have seen more, especially with the back line, more closer to what we would consider to be the back four for the start of the season. So that's my only little concern. But it's certainly an interesting one and an exciting one, because I've not gone in, Caroline, to a season with as much excitement as I feel right now for what's possible. You're good at weeding out polluters, Craig. Look, it's I hate going back over it, but like, it's a really simple thing, and I think I've proved myself. Like, I don't ever pick a fight for no reason with anybody. I show the respect that people deserve until they don't. You know, and I hate when it happens, because, you know, it takes away from the fun I'm having and the stream we're having, and I wish these arseholes would just watch somebody else or find something else to entertain themselves, because I don't like Debbie Downers. I like having fun with you all. Nunez goal for Benfica against City was amazing. Thought he was going to be top class. Wish him all the best. Never lacked effort. I agree. Always put in a good shift. I don't regret us signing him, as mad as that sounds, because I can understand, as an emotional person myself, why Jurgen would have been so enamoured with what he's seen unfold in front of him out there, because Darwin at his best is powerful, direct, swashbuckling, and he's an easy guy to like and want to do well. It just got to the point where I couldn't understand why people kept thinking something was going to change when we'd had 2 different coaches and 3 seasons of lots of false dawns. And maybe I'm interested to see if he can rebuild now. Like, if he goes over to the Saudi Pro League and really tears it up over there, maybe has a good World Cup. It'll be interesting to see if he has another big move left in his career, because he definitely does have all the attributes that you need in a top striker. Abdullah Abubakar, thank you, bro. Appreciate you, sir. I feel like we talk winger depth off the left, but we're proper thin on the right. Don't think we win the league with this depth. That's why, Aaron, at the start of the stream, I was kind of saying, would it be worth keeping Ben Doak around this season as that other option on the right side? Because the one thing Harvey Elliott lacked as a wide player was probably that bit of pace. I don't think Ben Doak lacks that. I think he's a better dribbler as well. And he's already a Liverpool player. So, granted, the contract situation is one that I was uninformed about until somebody kindly let me know earlier on. But I get what you're saying. But it is also really difficult to go, well, you're coming in and Salah's there, you know, because we know Salah's going to play most weeks. Itachi said, the ISAK Newcastle story is so over. I see no way he plays more games for him. They should take our money and rebuild to a squad that can get the Europa League every year. Should bid what it takes. I don't know how I feel about the should bid what it takes part, because I do think 150 million is madness, quite frankly. But I'd rather get it done as well at this point. So if paying a little bit more than maybe some of us fans were comfortable with got it done, then get it done. Can you please give us more titles for clicks? I'll try my best, Yorkshire Tea. I'll try my best. That one particular criticism of any YouTuber is hilarious. You're only doing this for clicks. Duh. Like, this kind of the game that everybody's in. Now, you can do clickbait, but that doesn't really make people stick around, does it? If they come in and go, well, this is not what we're talking about. But what we always have done is just use a quote or a part of a story to, get people to know what we're going to be talking about that night. But yeah, the whole you do it for clicks part for anyone aimed at anyone always baffles me, because of course you are. That's the fucking game, like. Aaron, they're officially being put on Craig's list. I just don't have time for it, mate. I every time I read out a comment like that and I go on me little rant, I feel bad taking away from time that I should be spending chatting with you guys. But you know me, I'm a kind of I get riled up easily, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And sometimes I'm like a dog with a bone. I don't let something go. Where are we? Sonder. Craig streams almost every day for hours. Been watching for years, and this community is amazing. Love you, Craig, and how you read and include everybody. Thank you, dude. You all deserve to be read and included, because without you, I don't have a show. I've always said this. Like, I look at some other YouTubers occasionally, and I see them able to do 10, 15-minute monologue, or I don't have that ability. I thrive off the interactive nature of what we do here, and quite frankly, I enjoy it more than listening to my own voice. So without you guys, this wouldn't be as fun, and I wouldn't have the same sense of kinship or connection that I feel with so many people. Like, it's lovely to hear that I'm part of your daily routines occasionally, but my goodness, you're definitely part of mine, and I couldn't imagine it without you. Stephen Gallagher said, FPL question, mate. Gakpo reverts alongside Salah. Oh, you're asking the wrong man, mate. I am bang average at FPL. Yeah, bang average. So I will absolutely ask that to the community, because if I give you an answer, it's probably going to be one that'll cost you points in the long run. Jamal said, do you think we move for ISAK tomorrow, possibly? So the line tonight, Jamal, seems to be that once we get any encouragement, then we move. And it does feel like when you've got Paul Joyce saying the saga isn't over yet and stuff, it feels like it can't be too far away. Patrick, Craig, totally on your side. You're responsible for what you say and not how they interpret it. F, Sticky Vicky, much respect. Yeah, look, it's pretty clear. And also at this point, people should know, like, that what we do. We've doing it long enough now that obviously we come and aggregate stories and discuss them. That's all I do. I don't claim to have inside scoops unless I very blatantly tell you it is an inside scoop. But like I said, I can't help how people just want to get angry. Like, the amount of times you look at comments and you'll know they haven't even watched the video. Like, they're accusing you of something that you've spoken about in the video at length to clear something up, and they just don't have any interest. They just want to piss and moan, and look, it is what it is. But I thank you, Patrick, for your support, and for everybody else. Real Sports, Craig, absolutely love your channel, mate. Thank you. Honestly, I'm so grateful to you all for your support, because I always feel I don't deserve it, but my goodness, I enjoy coming on here to chat with you. Just found your amazing channel last week. Love it, Stephen. Couldn't talk through Machara, which is Irish say, how are you, my friend? Thank you, appreciate that, and I hope you stick around for a long time. It's mad, the amount of new family members we've got this summer has been brilliant. It's been probably the summer I can remember where we've got a lot of new people in. Because I live in a little bubble, of course, where you think Liverpool fans would know we exist, whether they like the channel or not. You think at this point people would know we exist. So when you hear people say, I only found the channel or didn't know it existed, it kind of just, it makes you think, what am I doing wrong? Like, what can I do to make us more discoverable as well? Because I love getting to chat to new people, and thank you for your support, Stephen. I see YouTube in the morning with all the window stuff, and then come on here every night to get it from the one I trust. Thank you, my man. I don't do mornings though, as you know. So people often say, why don't we get an Anfield Agenda morning roundup? Because I keep the weirdest hours of sleeping, and I only get up at about 2. Ireland, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Harry Sinclair said, in a dream world, would you pick Isak or Yamal? Yamal, come on. I mean, I don't know there'd be a single football fan in the world that would answer Isak if Yamal was on the table. Yamal is the most exciting prospect, young prospect in world football. So Yamal. But look, I love Isak, and going into this summer, there isn't a centre forward that I would have wanted more outside of maybe Julian Alvarez, because I love Alvarez and I've always felt like he'd be brilliant in our system. But when I knew that he didn't want to come back to the UK for like cultural and family reasons, then it was always going to be Isak in my head as the number one. You do deserve it, Craig. You actually reply and make time for your viewers instead of just getting your mates online for an argument to get views. No, God. So, whilst we do this for views, I would never think of intentionally misleading people for views or to set up a row for views or something like that. Sometimes I have to admit I do bait a little bit. You know, I do encourage a bit of fume every now and then because you know me, I'm a shithouse and I love the banter. But the whole industry is based off driving for attention and clicks, and you know that's how we survive. Do I have car stickers, as in on my car or for the channel? The answer to both is no. Yeah, so no would be the answer to both. Kaz said, agree with you. Sorry, I had this up and then I brought it down. Agree with you. So happy I found the community. I am beside myself with excitement for the start of the season. To be honest, Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. I can't wait. Honestly, Caroline, I cannot wait. And I'm particularly happy that we kick off on a Friday night because, yeah, the weekend might drag in a little bit then after Friday, but to get to have a game under the lights at Anfield for the first one of the new season is going to be incredible, and I'm so excited for Friday. Itachi said, hey Craig, thank you for being part of my daily routine for more than 4 months. Love these streams, and it all feels like a big red family. Yeah, it does. And that's the part of this that surprised me, because I never thought I would get to know so many of you I don't say as well as I do, because of course it's not in real life this, but you know, I certainly get to know the sense of humor of some of you, and I look forward to seeing particular comments and usernames come up. And I love a good username as well. You know, I love a good funny user like the random Phantom Panty Sniffer. Names like that. That makes me smile. Right, I got to fly through a couple of these and then call it a night and get the news video out for everybody. So Brandon said Rio's more exciting talent than Barcola. I agree. And now I'm not saying Barcola's not a good player, Brandon, but we have a hugely exciting talent, like you've said, mate. And I want to see how Rio develops, because we've seen Yamal at a similar age kind of hit the ground running, and Rio seems like he's got no fear in him. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him this season. DB said, hi Craig, ISAK and GUEHI equals perfect window. Can't really argue against that, my friend. You know, we'd finished the window then with Georgie in, Kirkez in, Frimpong in, Wirtz in, Ekatike in, GUEHI in, and ISAK in. I mean, tell me that isn't the best transfer window of any club in the history of football. And I don't say that lightly. If we get ISAK and Mark GUEHI, in my humble opinion, this is the best transfer window of any football club in the history of football. And I don't think I'm overstating it to say that. I think I'm being honest with that. It would be insanity, and certainly the furthest removed from what I've always expected from FSG, which is bare minimum. Arthur Smith said, if invited, would I play in a creator match? No, I wouldn't. I'm too fat, too old to play in a creator match. But I would coach. I would happily manage a team in a creator match, especially if it's for charity. You know, happy to do anything for a good cause. So, but yeah, my days of kicking a football, mate, are over. I'm too fat and too out of shape. Right, let's get this poll finished and then we'll call it a night. So, pick one to win this season, and 68% of you guys said that you would like to win the Premier League over the Champions League. And I expected that to be the case, but I do appreciate you all, coming in and hitting it. Maybe with Madrid's Ronaldo, Kaká, Alonso, Benzema is up there. It's a pretty good window, Lemon. To be fair, it's a pretty good window that you've mentioned there. But I'm still going to stick with ours, though. I'm going to stick with ours. I'm going to be biased on it. Zoshim said, Craig, out of 10, us getting ISAK. 9.9 out of 10 at this point, mate. Honestly, I would be astonished if he's not a Liverpool player by the 1st of September. So, for me, 9.9 out of 10. Right. Thank you so much, everybody. What day is tomorrow? Friday. So we'll be back tomorrow. Usual story tomorrow. 4:30, 8:45 stream and late night video. There will be a video out before 11. So do keep an eye out, and I will do my best to keep you as informed with developments over the last bit as I can. Oh, this one from Andy before we finish. None of my family are close friends or football fans. You are my other family. Love you. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that, my man. I really do. Means a lot. Thank you, Andy. Right, we'll talk to you.